So I'm Acadia Palmer Toy. I'm from California. I'm a senior, and I chose to do this topic researching um, reproductive rates from cannabinoids, or the impact of cannabinoids on reproductive rates, because my best friend got a really bad dependency on marijuana, and now he's on rehab. So this was kind of like a tribute to him because too many people disregard the negative effects of marijuana. So what is marijuana? Marijuana is an increasingly popular plant that is often consumed orally or smoked to activate its psychoactive properties. Marijuana's psychoactive properties come from its cannabinoids within the plant. THC is the psychoactive component and gives the users a feeling of being high, while CBD is used to counteract the negative effects of THC and also reduce anxiety. Marijuana is used for medical and recreational reasons, and some medical reasons include easing pain and soothing anxiety. It is legal for medicinal use in 38 states and legal for recreational use in 24 states. In a 2019 survey, 18% of Americans claim they had used cannabis at least once, and since 2019, those numbers have greatly risen. Previous studies that look at the impact of marijuana on bodily functions include an observational study with men and women, and this survey asked women that smoked in the 3 months period prior to the experiment to record if their ovulation cycle had been delayed, and men who smoked more than once a week in the 3 months prior to the survey, they had their sperm count monitored. Results from that study concluded that marijuana delays the ovulation cycle and it causes a decrease in sperm count. Another experiment looking at THC in male mice found that THC did not decrease sperm count or decrease sperm motility, which is the movement of sperm, but it did decrease their mRNA CRN1, which it produces protein, but that didn't impact the testes weight, the weight of the testes for the mice. And this provided evidence that THC does not impact fertility in men or male mice for this experiment in particular. And they also looked at CBD on short-term memory in Drosophila. And this experiment gave Drosophila CBD to compare their short-term memory. They were given CBD and were taught a pattern using a flashlight, and they were to memorize the pattern. Those treated with CBD were unable to learn the pattern, so they couldn't compare short-term memory with Drosophila with that weren't treated. And the Drosophila with the CBD were observed to have erratic flight patterns and movement. My hypothesis was that cannabinoids such as THC and CBD would reduce the reproduction rates, and I used Drosophila as my model. By comparing a THC group and a CBD group to the control Drosophila, there was evidence to conclude that THC and CBD do reduce reproductive rates in Drosophila. Cannabinoids such as THC are fat soluble, so your body can store THC for up to 90 days. And THC can be transferred to babies through the placenta. So in women, when comparing a fetus by a pregnant woman who uses marijuana and a woman who doesn't use marijuana, the fetus of the woman who uses marijuana was often smaller in size and had delayed developmentation. In contrast to that finding, though, some online blogs encourage pregnant women to use CBD and CBG, which is like CBD but less potent, and it's advised for pregnant women to use that to ease pain, but there's no medical research backing that, so I'd be very careful using online blogs for pregnancy information. So for this experiment, we followed a hatch assay where we treated virgin adults with THC, virgin adult Drosophila, by the way, with THC or CBD allowing them to copulate for a few days and counting how many eggs of those adults emerge. A hatch assay gives Drosophila treatment and observes the amount of eggs to assess abnormalities caused by the treatment. By analyzing the hatching rates and observing any anomalies, scientists can gain insights into various aspects of development, genetics, and environmental factors. These assays are valuable tools in understanding biological processes and can provide valuable information for human-related research. For THC and CBD, their infused media had about 0.5 milligrams per milliliters based on the short-term memory CBD experiment and another experiment giving Drosophila THC. And this is about like mid levels. It's not a low dosage, but it's not a high dosage. It's pretty in the middle. And one trial would take about 28 days total from collecting virgins to the emergence of the eggs. We ensured that every trial had the same day-night cycles, which we controlled along the lights were on and off, same age of Drosophila, and same temperature, because all of those factors can impact mortality rates and breeding time. And we waited 12 days because at 21 degrees Celsius, most eggs hatch between day 10 and day 12 of their life cycle. Here is a model of what we did with photos. And Drosophila are a good model for reproductive studies because of their large amounts of offspring and short breeding cycles. They are also about 60% genetically similar to humans, thus being a good model to research impacts of cannabinoids on reproductive rates. So by the number of emerged eggs and dividing it by the total number of eggs collected per treatment, which was 500 each group, we could calculate the hatch rate. So control was 94.8%, CBD was 86.2%, and THC was 89.6%. Using a chi-square test, we found the significance value, or p-value, which validates that THC and CBD do cause a reduction in reproductive rates. As you can see, CBD had a super statistically significant p-value here, and our alpha level was 0.05, just for reference. Yeah, so I was actually surprised that CBD had more of an impact in reducing the reproductive rates, because with previous research, usually it was THC that had a more drastic reduction. But in the THC group, there was bright red pupae that would die and ooze red. Here, I have a photo of it here. And that was highly unusual. There was no other information on this. It was just with the THC group. And I think I saw about 8. It happened 8 times, but I could not find any other like information about this. So that is concerning, but it also makes a little bit of sense to me, because when I was researching THC, it does impact the development of fetus in humans. So I wonder if that's how it'd be affecting Drosophila. But yeah. And here is a graph showing these little asterisks represent the statistical significance. So yeah. And yeah, like I said, I was surprised that CBD caused a lower reproduction rate than THC. And THC had a more drastic impact on reproductive health, specifically in women, in these previous studies. And it may be due to the fact that I infused the THC treatment using crystalline. If you don't know what crystalline is, it's a wax. When you extract the cannabinoids from marijuana, you can get this thing called resin, which has a higher THC percentage. And if you extract cannabinoids from the plant, you will always have a little bit of CBD, but in crystalline, it's pretty much made so it's like THC to CBD ratio is like in the hundreds or even more. So that's why I use crystalline. But it's not easy to infuse something with crystalline because you don't eat crystalline, you smoke it, and the flies might not enjoy eating that. And this work provides further evidence that marijuana has negative impacts on the reproductive process and should be used with caution by those who are pregnant or those who are planning on having children. Though statistical significance doesn't necessarily mean it's biologically significant, I think further exploration with different doses may give a more clear answer. Birth rate in California has been consistently decreasing. Some signs suggest that THC might affect fertility by impacting hormone levels and sperm quality. And THC can lower sperm count and mortality rates in males, while females it will disrupt menstrual cycles and ovulation. And CBD's impact is less studied, but it's thought to potentially affect fertility-related hormones too. Here's my work. And I'd like to acknowledge Oxnard College, me a lab to work in, and my mentor Neela, and my family. So thank you for listening to my presentation. I think it's question time too, so.
Awesome job. Okay, so a question for you is, what would be the next question related to this work that you would want to learn more about based on, you know, all of the outcomes that you saw through this research?
Ooh, I think the next question would to be looking at how it affects different like sexes of Drosophila, or I could even expand and like maybe use different models. But I think that would be the next step, and then probably dosing, and also looking at how these cannabinoids impact the copulation process. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Acadia. Wonderful job.